Pedriasi Lodge to Ayi Mensa Road to be closed to traffic from Monday 27th of June.
Ghana records 97% universal access to education for children of school-going age.
Police to secure flashpoints and protect all electioneering campaigns ahead of election. Hello, good evening and welcome. This is News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Akmene Avo Ajaja.
And I am Emmanuel Amagashi.
I look at the stories now in detail. The Ghana Highway Authority says it will on Monday 27 June close the lane from the Pedriasi Lodge to Ayi Mensa on the Accra-Ebri Road to vehicular traffic. The closure is aimed at ensuring that the rocks that are hanging loosely beside the road is worked on by the contractor. However, the Ebri-bound double carriageway will be converted into a single carriageway which will be opened to traffic.
The repair works will last for 5 months and the road will be opened to traffic on 19th November 2016. As an alternative, motorists may also use the Kitase-Brekusi Road. The public is advised to cooperate with traffic wardens at Ayi Mensa and Pedriasi Lodge ends of the roads and also follow directional signs that will be placed along the route to ensure safe execution of the works. President John Mahama has given the reasons why there is youth literacy is on the increase in Ghana, a reason for making an early impact on the UN Millennium Development Goals. Ghana's universal access to education for children of school-going age is 97%, one of the highest in the world. The achievement comes on the back of cumulative interventions by government, especially in the past 5 years. The president was speaking at Ebri on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of Ebri Girls Senior High School. Napoleon Atokito reports.
A special cake from the Baker's Culinary underscored this special event as Ebri Girls Senior High School marked its 70th anniversary. Big names graced the event. There was President John Mahama as the guest of honor. There was the immediate past First Lady, Dr. Mrs. Ernestina Nadu Mills, who graduated from the school in 1961. The chairperson of the Governing Council of GIMPA, Dr. Christina Amwakunyama, and the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Professor Emmanuel Mate. The executing mantle for this year's anniversary fell on the 91-year group who adorned themselves in green lace. They were distinct from the collective who stuck to the school's traditional cloth. A great day it was, as friends and colleagues who might have lost contact with each other for a long time had a reunion. Established by the Presbyterian Mission in 1946, the school has proven its mettle, producing top female professionals, which include the current Chief Justice, Justice Theodora Georgina Wood. Awards were given to 7 and past staff, alumni, present students, and other categories of persons who have interfaced with Ebri Girls. Rosemont Bampo is the headmistress.
We had a mini homecoming with fun games and a march of honor of all girls, in addition to a fundraising lunch and a public lecture, which were both organized by the Ebri Girls Association, AOGA.
President, who is co-chair of the UN panel of eminent persons on the Sustainable Development Goals, explained why Ghana made the grade on access to education under the Millennium Development Goals. Expansion in education infrastructure promoted access, while social intervention programs motivated parents and guardians to send their children to school.
We expect that over the next decade, we should achieve 100% youth literacy. I'm pleased also to note that WAEC has risen to the occasion to deal with the shameful examination malpractices that have plagued examinations over the past several years. This year, I'm proud to note that our BCE examination has passed with no incidents recorded.
The school was one of the many educational institutions which recently received buses donated by government. President John Mahama drew a line between the generic gesture and the anniversary by offering a unique dispensation to Ebri girls. He said he will instruct the GET Fund to construct a 16-unit teachers' residential apartment and renovate old buildings on campus. Napoleon Atukito, Ebri.
The police service has assured the public of its readiness for the upcoming elections. At a conference of the National Police Command in Accra, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. John Kudalo, disclosed that the police will ensure that all flashpoints are secured and will also protect all electioneering campaigns to prevent any mayhem.
Since 1992, Ghana has held elections to enable citizens exercise their franchise. The upcoming election is the 7th. Ghana will be going to the polls to elect its leaders. It also comes with challenges including safety and security. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. John Kudalo, said the police has deployed several strategies to ensure that the safety and security of the electorates are not undermined.
Other proactive measures being employed by the police administration includes the IGP's dialogue series, media and press centers which will be open across all the regions in the country, accessible to everybody, mobilization and training of personnel in policing elections, mobilization of transport and logistics, and assembly of legal, investigation and prosecution teams.
Mr. John Kudalo called for a proactive approach to the increasing threats of private securities linked to political parties. He said about 70 police personnel have undergone training to protect all presidential aspirants. The Minister for the Interior, Mr. Prosper Bani, however, asked the police service to remain neutral as the 2016 election approaches.
It is imperative that you live above reproach and carry out your duties with integrity and without fear or favor. Government policy is consistent on this. The police service must be approachable to all political groups. You are expected to remain neutral, professional, and vigilant throughout the whole process. Likewise, government encourages all political leaders with security concerns to approach the IGP for assistance.
The Deputy Chair of Operations at the Electoral Commission, Mr. Amadou Sule, promised the Commission's readiness to work with the National Election Security Task Force to ensure a successful election 2016. The conference involved all heads of the police service from the regions, the Police Management Board, and senior police officers. For GBC24, Shelley Annan reporting.
Rural-urban migration can be likened to a coin. While some say it is good for rural folks to move to urban centers to search for jobs, others too are of the view that it should be discouraged. However, studies done by the Center for Migration Studies at the University of Ghana, Legon, show that with appropriate government interventions, including jobs in the rural areas, rural-urban migration can become a useful tool to improve the lives of people and also shore up economic growth.
This is Ashaiman, one of the densely populated metropolis in the Greater Accra region. The town provides various job opportunities for many people who are mostly migrants from the northern, upper east and upper west regions of the country. This is Mr. Kofi Bani, a 42-year-old phone dealer. He has been trading in phones and other accessories for the past 7 years. He has left his family and relatives to the city to work in order to improve upon the livelihood of his families back home in the village. Nana Akwesi, a shoe seller, have been in the shoe business for 5 years. Though unmarried, he is the breadwinner of his siblings, and this influenced his move from the village in the Bunahafo region to Ashaiman. He said, although the current economic situation hasn't been favorable to traders, he is better off in the city than if he had been in the village. Mr. Richard Ansa, a taxi driver from the Volta region, have also moved to the city for more than 20 years now and described his migration from the rural area to the city as a blessing in disguise. Mr. Ansa, however, added that ideally he would like to move to his village provided there are jobs.
Baby, baby, congested and a danka. Because of your congested one, Yamani Yanabo didn't do a banu to me be factories or other regions more. A
research have been conducted by the Center for Migration Studies and the University of Sussex titled Migration into Cities in Ghana, an analysis of the counterfactuals. It is to examine how migrants from the Upper East and West, Northern, Volta and Bunahafo regions would have fared in the absence of migration. The policy report draws attention to the positive and negative effects of rural-urban migration in relation to marriage, childbirth, education, and the psychological benefit to the migrants. Dr. Joseph Tay is a research coordinator at the Center for Migration of the University of Ghana, Legon. He hinted that research conducted showed that a significant proportion of households interviewed believed their well-being had improved as a result of migration.
Most of the poor people do not engage in international migration. Most of the time, media reports suggest that people are moving from the global south or developing countries to developed countries. But if you look at it, only a small percentage of people are able to move to the global north. This is because a lot of people who are poor cannot embark on international migration. They don't have the money to do so.
The reports recommended, among other things, the need for government to roll out policies to address the rate at which people migrate from the rural areas to urban centers in search of jobs that are non-existent.
Let's move to the central region now. The AME Zion Church Ghana has held a missionary convocation at its annual conference in Cape Coast. The program was part of activities to celebrate the church's 140th anniversary of missions and ministry in Africa. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, urged Christians to preach and exhibit the love of Jesus Christ to all manner of persons.
The African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, popularly known as the AME Zion Church, was founded in 1796. Every year, the church's leadership meet to assess works of the previous year and also plan for the future. The Western West Africa Episcopal District, comprising East, West, and Mid-Ghana, held a missionary convocation in Cape Coast, spearheaded by the Church's Women's Home and Overseas Missionary. This year's conference has the theme, Building a Legacy with God for Such a Time Like This. The various regions of the church narrated their history in a cultural display. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, spoke on the theme, The Great Commission, a Personal Calling. She described the theme as timely, especially at a time that the Church has lost its first love of reflecting Christ in deed and not in words.
Tell others the love you experience from me, and by doing that, others will come to know me. So, not just speaking it, but actually doing it, because love is a verb. The unbeliever, seeing where they belong in the love of God and actually experiencing the love of God, so that together this multiplication business will move on. That is the essence of the Great Commission.
The presiding bishop of the AME Zion Church, Right Reverend Dr. Seth Olate, lauded the works of Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, describing her as the Esther of our time. The Central Regional Minister, Mr. Kweku Ricketts Hagen, asked all to pray for peace as the country prepares for the polls.
And we stay a while longer in the Central Region. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, has presented assorted items to the Zongo community there. They include bags of rice, oil, sugar, tea, and cocoa beverages. The gesture was to support the needy during the Ramadan. The Zongo chief of Cape Coast, Alhaji Mahmoud Dande, who received the items, was grateful to Mrs. and Mr. Arthur. He promised that the items will be shared among the old, poor, and needy in the community to fulfill one of the pillars of Islam.
The Chief Fire Officer, Dr. Albert Brown Gazy, has been to the Eastern Region to ascertain the state of fires and the readiness of firemen at the various fire stations. He also visited some public facilities to check their fire prevention preparedness.
Fire breaching, if you have it.
It is the vision of the Ghana Fire Service to establish fire stations in all districts across the country to ensure public safety. During the Chief Fire Officer's 3-day tour of the Eastern Region, an appeal was made for fire safety audits to be conducted in all government facilities. Dr. Albert Brown Gazy later interacted with the fire personnel to know their challenges.
We have a contract with the state, and the contract is that we should assist to minimize, prevent, and fight fires in this country.
The Chief Fire Officer also visited the Cocoa Research Institute.
My major concern is how we can collaborate, two institutions and the traditional authorities, to acquire a fire service fire station for this community that will serve Cocoa Research and its environments.
Last year, your men were here to inspect our fire hydrants. They looked at all and they cautioned us about some problems with our hydrants. We were given estimates, and the board is working on that to provide us with the resources to have all those hydrants refurbished and put into good use.
He paid a courtesy call on the chiefs of Begro and Tafo, where he also inspected various parcels of land donated by the chiefs for the construction of fire stations.
A health story now. About 500,000 people in Ghana are living with scoliosis. Scoliosis is the abnormal curvature or deformity of the spine. This initially painless condition have the tendency to reduce the lifespan of children and create social alienation among adult victims. Early detection and treatment are key to a patient's survival. These and more were the highlights of Scoliosis Awareness Day.
All kinds of myths surrounding scoliosis, making a taboo of those who suffer from it. Victims are ridiculed and given all kinds of names. This perhaps is the reflection of the low level of awareness about the condition.
It is very pathetic to see young Ghanaians, especially the potential working force, being incapacitated as a result of scoliosis. Knowledge about the disease in terms of early detection, symptoms, and treatment is very low in both Ghana and Africa.
When I was a child, I thought this condition was actually related to those who fell from height. We call them afucheme or achacha. Today, we are being told that it is a medical condition. And that is why we are very happy to be part of this.
Children under 10 born with scoliosis rarely experience pain, and in most cases, the curve is too minor to require any treatment. This, however, if not monitored, shortens their lifespan.
Scoliosis is not from witchcraft or a curse. Parents should not abandon their affected children. Fathers should not blame mothers for bearing children with scoliosis. Let's not hide them as a taboo. Let's not ridicule them as crooked and ugly. Underneath the contorted bodies are beautiful minds and souls.
Focus Hospital has been at the forefront of treating scoliosis in Ghana. The hospital has so far performed surgeries for about 2,000 children and adults.
I was diagnosed with severe congenital scoliosis, but for the timely intervention of Focus, who performed surgery on me in April 2002, at the age of 17, I could be sitting in a wheelchair now.
Surgery, bracing, physiotherapy, among others, may be some conventional treatment for scoliosis. However, early detection is key. Sarah Fori, GBC24, Accra.
Let's talk business now. Trade between Nigeria and Ghana have slowed days after Africa's most populous country decided to abandon a much criticized fixed exchange rate regime. The Naira tumbled 40% on Tuesday when the central bank decided to let market forces determine the state of the currency. Nigerian businessmen who do their trade in Ghana say business is no longer competitive as they need more of Naira in exchange for a few dollars.
For the past 6 months, Nigeria has operated a fixed exchange rate policy which artificially pegged the Naira at 175 to the dollar. This policy meant that the Nigerian businessman needed only 175 Naira to get a dollar for foreign trade, an initiative which was to the advantage of the Nigerian importer. For the Nigerian who relied on remittances from abroad, this was certainly a downer. For half a year, Nigeria suffered massive capital flight as most foreign investors and multinationals were not satisfied with this regime. The dollar was officially priced far below its true market value. Having realized the effect of this regime on the economy, the central bank on Tuesday decided to allow market forces to determine the fate of the currency. The Naira went down 40%, moving the exchange rate to 225 to the US dollar. This meant that the Nigerian importer or businessman would now have to look for 225 Naira to get $1 instead of 175 Naira. This is the Lagos station at Tudu in Accra. Drivers at the number 4 Lagos station say their vehicles have been parked for the past 5 days without patronage.
We have so many problems as we drivers because if the businessman not come, how you can manage to see passengers and go? Then we need that business people to be in, come and buy. Then we driver will say we'll carry for them, carry the passenger, go. Then we'll see something to be eating. But now our business people, they are not coming. See our vehicles back. Some day yet, 5 days to 10 days, they will never move.
Whilst this development affects Nigerians who like to export to Ghana, it is an opportunity for the Ghanaian who like to import from Nigeria. This is because a dollar in Nigeria will now fetch more than it used to do.
Those who are buying from Nigeria to Ghana, those are the people who are going to benefit. But those who are buying from here to Nigeria, they are not going to get anything, but they will run at loss.
If you are Ghanaian, you go to Nigeria, you buy your market in Nigeria, come here, it will benefit for you. I think you get game inside. But Nigeria cannot come here and buy something here and go Ghana and see the thing say it will touch him out.
The sharp depreciation of the Naira will certainly slow trade in the sub-region, all things being equal. Drivers and traders in the region say the situation is further compounded by the numerous checkpoints and extortion along the route.
From here, money. From here to here, money. Money. Before the driver drives from Nigeria to here, the whole money will they will lavish the whole money from you.
Nigeria.
Also in business, ahead of the presentation of the final public procurement management bill to Parliament, Stakeholders Forum of the petroleum, civil and financial sectors has opened in Accra. The major issue being discussed is how to address the public financial governance in the country and potentially influence the procurement management bill.
A meeting on improving public financial management in the country has been told that per the Auditor General's annual report to Parliament, public financial governance in Ghana is unsatisfactory. The situation presents the greatest challenge to good governance in the country. Recommendations have been made to the Auditor General's report, emphasizing how the public financial management system should be reoriented. On the back of the recommendation, a meeting on the petroleum, civil and financial sectors have opened in Accra, and it is discussing the final public procurement management bill to be presented to Parliament. One of the speakers at the meeting was Mr. Ato Gate, an international consultant in public financial management.
Our emphasis has been slightly misplaced because we believe that when we come up with the laws, when we computerize everything will go right. Most of us look at more at our personal gains than what will come into the system. The issue of integrity is quietly forgotten now.
A public financial management specialist with the Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth, GOGIC, Dr. William Atulik, reinforced the need to have a workable public financial management bill.
It is good for us to strengthen the penal and sanctions regime in the current PFM bill that is being processed for Parliament, and also to take a cue from the examples in the Petroleum Revenue Management Framework, which framework benefited hugely from very enthusiastic and active participation from civil society.
Going forward, stakeholders hope the new public financial management bill will provide clear guidelines for the various phases of the budget cycle, stronger, clear and deterrent sanctions, and a space for independence of the civil servant.
Set for the business segment. Welcome back to the international segment of the news. Health workers in Somalia say Al-Shabaab gunmen have taken hostages in a hotel in the Somali capital Mogadishu in an attack that has left at least 15 people dead. Police report indicates the Somali army is attempting to retake the Naso Hablod hotel after militants detonated a car bomb and stormed it. The death toll included guards, civilians, and militants. Al-Shabaab militants frequently carry out attacks in the city in their bid to topple the Western-backed government. The group said it targeted the hotel, which was frequented by the apostate government members.
And hundreds of people stranded by floods have been rescued in West Virginia, with the death toll now standing at 23. Rescue works are set to continue throughout the weekend, and authorities fear more victims may be found as they search through the rubble. The state governor says the floods are the worst in a century in some areas. The National Weather Service said West Virginia received a quarter of its annual rainfall in a single day. In sports news, more than 80 sports journalists from Accra have benefited from a one-day seminar on weightlifting. The initiative, the first of its kind by the Ghana Weightlifting Federation and Phoenix Life Assurance Company, was aimed at upgrading the knowledge base of the journalists on the latest developments in the sports.
Competitive sports, according to experts, will only survive and develop with the cooperation of the media. Sports must therefore enjoy good relationship with the media. In the light of this, the Ghana Weightlifting Federation, in partnership with Phoenix Life Assurance Company, has for the first time organized a one-day seminar for sports journalists in the country. Topics treated included the impact of Ghana's sports journalists on sports development in Ghana, sports branding in Ghana, the cricket and weightlifting perspective, and the technical and competition rule and regulations (TCRR). The resource persons were Dr. Kweku Fuswasari, a lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration (GIMPA), and a sports broadcaster. Mr. Beninu Mensah, the president of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation, and Mr. Hussein Akwetadi, the Secretary General of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation. It was to afford the journalists the opportunity to be able to know, understand and assess their impact when it comes to the development of sports in the country. The Youth and Sports Minister Nilante Vanderpoy urged the journalists to make the best out of it.
I'll plead with you, take this course very, very serious. And I'm sure when you are finished, you build confidence in yourself anytime you are reporting on this particular sport and this discipline.
The group head of communications at CDH Financial Holdings, Mr. Rekadai, said his outfit believes in building the capacity of the journalist.
We want to see the day where sports in this country is democratized in terms of giving every Ghanaian the right opportunity, ample opportunity to shine in terms of whatever talent God has given them. So as the Ghana Weightlifting Federation contacted us, we decided that, wow, let's do this and support them so that Ghanaian journalists will serve as a sounding board to educate the rest of the population on weightlifting.
The president of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation, Mr. Beninu Mensah, said thank you to the journalist.
I'm very touched by the presence of you guys here. And it shows that now Ghanaian journalists are looking at being fair or treating other Ghanaian youth who are talented in other disciplines fairly. And that one alone, I think that you guys have done very well. And I really appreciate it. And may God bless you for whatever you're doing for the sport.
The seminar also saw a demonstration of how the discipline is performed and all the rules and regulations governing it. All participants were presented with certificates and souvenirs from the sponsors.
Lawyers of the Ghana Taekwondo Federation have cleared the airways on the eligibility of the current executive members. The lawyers say there has not been any breach of the constitution by the executives.
A group of Taekwondo practitioners a week ago demonstrated to register their displeasure against the hierarchy of the Federation. To the demonstrators, the current executive were operating illegally and misusing the Olympic Solidarity Fund meant for development, among others. Addressing the issue at a well-attended news conference, the lawyer for the Federation, Ken Anaba, touched on the tenure of office.
Under the Constitution, every time Congress meets to discuss issues or to perform its business, and the case in point is perform elections, it does so to elect members into office for a 4-year term.
The Director of Sports at the National Sports Authority, Mr. Joshua Mensah, said his outfit has never given money to any of the Federation heads.
I am directly in charge of such requests that comes through the National Sports Authority to vet before it gets to the ministry. I did that, it got to the ministry, it started there. The money never came because of the usual cliche, no money.
The president of the Ghana Taekwondo Federation, Mr. Ferrick Latutu, described the actions as unfortunate.
Since November 15, 2013, they have never, and I repeat, never participated in our programs, be it championships, be it referee courses, coaching courses, they have never. So even we are surprised that they will take to the street and now they are concerned about our problems and they want me out of office. They are talking about fans. Such people, what can we talk about them? There's nothing we can do. What they have told us, they have nothing to do with us. It's unfortunate.
And that was sports. Entertainment is next.
The arts and entertainment segment, we threw the spotlight on gospel artist Joe Mettle. He was our guest on Showbiz on GBC24. In an interview, he explained why he prefers live band to miming.
It's easier explaining them or ministering them live rather than the fixed studio session. Sunday, which is the main event, that's at 5 p.m. Gates open by 4. The venue is Liberty Hall, Fountainhead School, Community 12 Tema. Liberty Hall, Fountainhead School.
Are we having any other artists?
Yeah. We're having Pastor Isaiah Fusukwachi Jr., we're having Becky Bonnie, and we're having all the way from Nigeria, Samuel Poso.
And this is where we draw the curtain on News Hour today. We'll be back at 10:30 with This Week.
Good evening.